Hello Funkers, welcome to another Tony Tangent where I just kind of talk without a script. Now for today I just want to talk about Magical Girl Destroyers. So I highly recommend it, not because it's necessarily a good anime, I mean it's actually kind of a rough anime, it's very simple, the stakes are never high in this anime, and it just feels like the heroes are going to win out of nowhere. There's always going to be some sort of ass pull that helps them win. So if you like very grounded sort of type of magic and stuff like that, this anime is not for you. But for those of you who just want to watch funny shit, then this is the anime for you. And so basically I just kind of want to give my 2 cents about this anime and just kind of talk about it, since I am following it and I don't think there's enough material to do like a Tony short or to do like a Tony funkumentary on this anime. But it does obviously explore some very interesting themes here. So the premise of Magical Girl Destroyers is that there are 3 magical girls. Here you can see Anarchy-chan, you can see Blue-chan, and then over here you can see Pink-chan. And so these 3 magical girls, you know, they're obviously based off of the magical girl trope, such as Sailor Moon. So they do these transformations, and the transformations are fun. So anyway, so the magical girls, they're originally like these kind of dolls that this character named Otaku Hero gets in the mail, and they kind of imprint on him, kind of like how birds kind of imprint on a human if they're the first thing that they see when they hatch. He's like their daddy sort of thing, but they're also like, I don't know, sexually attracted to him. It's pretty, you know, pretty Japanese, I'd say. But overall, the premise is a play on this magical girls theme. And it's also a play on otaku tropes. And so this anime basically follows this battle, this war between otakus and the SSC, which is an organization that's trying to placate and trying to make the otakus conform to societal norms and to, you know, drop the anime shit and become like normal people. And so I think, you know, like the major theme of this show obviously is propaganda and conforming to society. In Japan, there's an expression. The expression goes something along the lines of, any nail that sticks out gets hammered so that it matches with the other nails. Something like that. I know I totally butchered that, but if you stick out, you will get hammered down. And so I guess otaku culture, even though at this point in time, I mean, it's still very, you know, it's always been very popular in Japan, it also has a stigma. Because anime in Japan is lowest common denominator, it is very lowbrow, so to speak. And so like people who are somebody in Japan, people, you know, who are professionals and stuff like that, they tend to look down on otaku culture. And so I truly believe that this anime is just taking this idea of, you know, otakus kind of being dirty or being the lower echelons of society. And so it follows this narrative that everyone who is with the SSC is kind of brainwashed, and they're forced to kind of be boring despite them having hobbies and things that they love doing. They just kind of like shut those off so that they can not be protected, which is what the SSC claims happens to otakus. They get protected, and in reality, they're just being thrown into like jail cells and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting premise about censorship and about forcing people to conform to societal norms. One of the things that I really want to talk about too is the art style. It has this like Kill la Kill / Fooly Cooly art style where everything's kind of drawn hastily. It's kind of poorly drawn sort of thing. The characters seem to be off model more times than not. So it kind of makes it difficult for you to know, well, I mean, are they supposed to be off model or are they supposed to look a certain way? It's all very ambiguous, and it's something that I really like. Ultimately, I guess what I'm arguing is Magical Girl Destroyers a Fooly Cooly copy? It's not, but it's heavily inspired by Fooly Cooly. The washed out colors, it gives off this 90s / early 2000s vibe, and obviously because it's 2023, Magical Girl Destroyers is trying to convey that vibe. It's trying to take you back in time to, you know, 2001. Now, one of the interesting things is that Anarchy-chan conveys like a regular protagonist. She's like a very basic anime hero sort of archetype. But what I think is really interesting is that Pink-chan and Blue-chan actually represent taboos in Japanese society. So for starters, Blue-chan represents sexuality, and it represents the taboo of women being very open with their sexuality. In fact, in Japanese society, it's seen as more desirable if a woman is kind of shy about her sexuality and kind of hides it and kind of pretends she doesn't want it, even though she does, which is a pretty screwed up societal norm. But Blue-chan is kind of quite the opposite. The first time we see her, and she's rescued, she claims that she was on Tinder and she was trying to hook up, and like that's how she got caught in the first place. Like somebody set a honey trap for her and it worked. And so it's interesting that in Magical Girl Destroyers, not only are the magical girls fighting for Otaku's cause, they're also just fighting kind of for their own quirks. When it comes to Pink-chan is an avid drug user, and so she's always injecting stuff into her that's kind of like the basis of her powers and stuff. And anything that's psychoactive in Japan is actually like a huge taboo. Drugs in Japan are a big no-no. The only exceptions, of course, being alcohol, tobacco, and coffee. The fact that Pink-chan is this club girl who's constantly doing drugs, is excited about doing drugs, it's just very interesting that this character was created, as some sort of hero, yet, she represents a big no-no. And so ultimately, one of the cool things about Magical Girl Destroyers is that they are trying to tell you that the fringes of society, they will not conform and they will not bend backwards. So even though this anime really isn't that deep, if you look at it from a surface level, it's actually talking about some really interesting themes, talking about sexuality and it being kind of a taboo for women to be openly sexual, as well as talking about drug use and how, one of the protagonists is an avid drug user and yet she seems like somewhat competent in, defeating the bad guys and is also fighting for a noble cause. Now it's time to give this anime a rating. So out of a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Magical Girl Destroyers a solid 6.5. I think it's a lot of fun, but it does explore some interesting themes about how Japanese society is trying to placate and trying to hammer the nail, so to speak, on other aspects of society. So 6.5 it is. Check it out if you haven't already. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys agree with my assessment. I'd love to see what you guys have to say in the comments below. And as always, Funkers, take care, and I shall see y'all's down the road.